What's up, all of you in YouTube land? It's been quite a while, but I'm thinking I'm back. And coming back, I just wanted to share basically what was on my mind because that's all that I ever wanted this channel to be. So, uh, you might notice I'm dressed a little bit unorthodoxly. That's because I am non binary. That's really, really kind of scary to say out loud. Yeah, there's no way she could have heard me. I'm wondering about my mom downstairs is like, because I'm not out to my parents yet, so I'm out to rather few people. So this will be different. For those of you who may or may not know, non-binary is when a person does not identify with the typical gender binary of man or woman. For me, that means that I personally kind of fit in between. There's some people who are like totally don't identify with either of those, either man or woman. There are people that identify as like a third gender. I don't really know what that's like, so I won't speak on it. Um, but for me myself, I'm a little bit in the middle, kind of. I'm not sure yet, but definitely towards the middle. This is all very new to me, and so I'm still trying to figure it out. What I do know, though, is that I am somewhere in between man and woman. I don't really identify very strongly with either, but I definitely have traits from both. And my pronouns are they, them. Some of you might be wondering, so what does that change about you? And to be honest, not a whole lot. I for a long time felt like I was not a real hyper masculine dude sort of thing. That never really clicked with me. I was never an outdoorsy woodsman type. I was never a tough handyman type. Although I mean I can be handy, but that's besides the point. Yeah, I never really felt like I fit real tight into the peg of being a man or being a boy. And I don't know if it's because of growing up in a relatively conservative environment or if it's just the way I am, but I never really had a whole lot of draw to the other end of the binary of being a woman. That never really felt like that was me either. So I've always kind of felt kind of in between, kind of a little bit of take a little bit from here and take a little bit from there. Never really super like one side or the other. And I think I always previously just saw myself as like maybe not just not a super masculine guy, but then I kind of was exposed to the idea of being non-binary more often, and the more I experienced that idea, the more it made sense to me, and the more it felt like that's what I feel like. In totality, it doesn't really change me much. It's just a more accurate way of looking at myself, I think. I kind of figured out I was non-binary. Well, I mean, I kind of already explained that previously I had never really strongly identified with either gender. Um, and so it never really occurred to me that that might be something that that I could possibly be non binary until I started seeing it more online and I started seeing more traditionally masculine people online share that they also identified as non binary. And to see people like that really, I guess, opened my mind to the possibility of it. And then when I thought that hey, maybe that's a possibility, I started thinking about it and it started making more and more sense. Until ultimately, I kind of came to the conclusion that, yeah, that's me. So you might also be wondering, so how do you express that? How do you express being like how do you express your gender being non-binary? And like I mentioned earlier, I have a little bit of femme clothing, just a little bit. I bought some stuff from Lane Bryant. I feel super lucky to be able to find stuff in my size or even a little bit big. If you want a video talking more about that process, what it was like to find clothes that fit me, because obviously I'm a large person and I am a large person by men's size or men's standards. So finding femme clothing was difficult, but it wasn't impossible. And it took a bit of a leap of faith the first thing I got, but it worked out great. And it feels great to wear it. It feels, I don't know, it just feels right. It just feels good. It just feels right. Aside from that, like I said, I'm not out to my parents yet. And so I am careful with how I express myself at home and at work. But around my friends, I'm a little bit more relaxed. Several of them know already. I guess, come out to them already. And it's not like there's a huge change in my behavior or anything like that. So it's not that big of an adjustment for anybody, really, myself included. It's just a little bit more of just kind of getting to know the authentic me. And it's exciting to be able to feel more comfortable with yourself. And I think throughout this whole process of figuring out what my identity, I guess, I've just become more comfortable with who I am in my body. And not to get into the weeds of it, but that's kind of uncommon for me, feeling comfortable in my own body. And it's nice to feel for once. And I'm glad to have it. So, hey, nice to have it. If you have any questions about what it's like to be non-binary, or how I came to this conclusion, or just anything about it in general, feel free to let me know down in the comments. And if you'd like me to make any other videos on this sort of thing, feel free to let me know. I do plan on making a video on buying femme clothes for the first time. That's something that I researched into for months and months, and really took a long time to finally make a move on that. And I kind of feel like there's a lack of information out there about that, so I decided I'm going to make a video talking about that specifically. With that, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.